All right. Testing one, two. You guys can still hear me okay?
We
All
can.
right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is a continuation of our Blueprint to Brotherhood book, about the fellas, how we have managed to maintain a long-lasting bond and friendship, brotherhood for over 30 years or so. I know tonight, wanted to jump into a couple of questions that I shared a little bit earlier with everyone, just to start to work through next phase kind of parts of what we've been talking about. The questions that we'll cover tonight are, basically how has our brotherhood helped you grow as an individual? Hoping we can spend some time there, and then we'll follow up with maybe some memorable experiences that we can recall from working together, working through things together. So those are the two questions. Okay. I want to open up with anybody like to start us off with the first question of how has our brotherhood helped you grow individually?
Since I'm late on my homework, I'm still just thinking about it now. But I'm formulating some answers.
Fair enough. Anyone who did the homework, I want to start with you. Get a gold star for starting us off. It'll be conversational, I promise, but I want to make sure we open it up so anybody who has it on their heart to share something, we can do
I'm
that.
laughing because it reminds me of work. So who did the pre-read?
But Chip did hit us with I got a big meeting with all these muckety mucks, so I'm gonna be late and I'm not gonna do the homework. So that's cool.
Yeah. Since I didn't have a meeting with Puffy this afternoon, um, I don't know if this answers the question, but the first thing that came to my mind was um, that being able to, as we go through life and experience different, different experiences in life, having someone to discuss that with um, over time has been good and beneficial. So, I know I've reached out to probably all of you individually over the years about any particular struggles that I was having at the time, and being able to um, have a sounding board um, to bounce things off of, um, and to also, help correct us when we're wrong and point us in the right direction, and just to, having a shoulder to cry on, for lack of a better description, I think has been probably the things I've thought, I find most value in. It's like I just love being able to, you know, call each of, like, if you guys will talk about something and being me, I'm like, I'm going through either something similar or or something I'm going through, and I bring it up, and just being able to share that. And that's super helpful. I mean, that just means a lot to me, individually. I'm able to lean on you guys for whatever's going on, professional, personal. Um, and I think that is value that I find, without a doubt.
Say that. Thanks, Ant. Thanks for opening us up a little bit. I see Todd getting ready to lean in. I don't know if it's the angle of his camera or.
No, yeah, I think I think the brotherhood, helps us all to kind of be accountable. Um, because we see each other doing certain things, whether posting, you got your, getting your golf thing on, and getting your fitness on. Um, and Kevin, you on your grind. Everybody's on their grind. B Hall, he's been on this healthy kick in terms of nutrition and eating well and things of that nature. Um, and so, maybe I guess when I was traveling a little bit more often before COVID, maybe it got a little spark in you all to like, maybe I do need to go on a trip, and take some time off or whatever. But I think we all kind of feed off of each other when we see, because we love and respect each other, and we see, one or two of us kind of doing something like, okay, yeah, yeah, let's. I think I need to be doing a little bit of that myself, And so, I think we all kind of, you all kind of inspire me, in your own ways, um, and I think we kind of all each do that for each other, and which kind of helps build us all up at the same time. We're because you want to surround yourself with people who are going to push you
Mm.
and pull you up, right? Push you and pull you up. And so, I think we all do that, with each other in some form or fashion, So, that's kind of how it's helped me to grow. Because, to be honest with you, I probably have. It's probably not a word. I definitely have a closer bond with you brothers than my actual brother.
Mm.
And so, and not to say that like me and Trevor never talk or whatever, um, but I don't know. Well, because I guess because of the age gap growing up and things of that nature, that the age gap was always there. But in recent years, we've kind of connected. But like, he's doing his thing. He's being Mr. Single. He's playing the single life these days, and he's doing his thing. But we talk every once in a while. Um, but I talk to you guys, whether it's through GroupMe or text or fantasy football or Zoom, and I talk to you all a lot more often. So I connect with y'all a lot more often. So and we have the HU LKD bond.
Mm.
We'll have that forever. So that's that special something that I think we'll always have. But to answer the question, like I think, like I said, I think I'm a better man just from being with you brothers, because you continue to push and pull me up and lift me up. So
Look at that.
For something that it was actually your brother told us a long time ago. We were leaving Howard. It was your brother Chip. Um, and he said a couple things to us. But one is like, what y'all have is unusual. Don't take it for granted. And then later on, my father was telling me that, listen, friends are hard to come by.
Mm.
If you have some, keep them. And because as you get older, it gets harder. I watched my father. He's 86 years old. He had some friends in Denver. He moved here. It's hard to make friends when you're old, man. And so, because he's like, first of all, there's not that many people my age because they're all dying off. They're sick or they got issues. Those who aren't sick and don't have issues, they ain't trying to make any more friends. Like I got enough friends. I ain't, so it's harder. So it just taught me not to take it for granted. And I think we've gone through cycles of time where we get on each other's nerves for whatever reason. But we've stayed connected, which I think is part of the definition of friendship. And I think having this, the group me, I think Chip, you might have started that group me thing. Maybe I don't remember who did it, but I think that kind of kept us connected on a regular basis, as opposed to trying to schedule these conference calls once a quarter, which that wasn't always working. So it
Mhm.
made things real time. So the influence it's had on me is similar to Todd, because we talk pretty much. I'm not typing stuff in every day, but somebody's typing something in the group me pretty much every day for the last 10 years, you know?
Since Groovy started, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like, like you can tell who's going through seasons because they stop typing, right?
Yeah.
You could tell when they're going, whether it's personal or work or whatever. Like Byron, he doesn't type in much at all. Every blue moon, he'll say something. But Byron just got through surgery and trying to manage through stuff, and when Chip was in law school, he wasn't pinging us all that often, and when Todd was going through difficult times with his ex, he would. So we see that, but they would still tap in every now and let us know that they're paying attention and they're watching. They just don't have the energy to engage. So I think that's kept us close. And for me, I say it's like Todd in that I watch you guys do your thing. I watch Ant manage his business and manage his business in a way that it's probably like most businesses. It's not, Microsoft that just blew up, but he manages business every day. It's been 30 years and he's steady at it, and that's his business. That's what he does, I can't see Ant in a corporate environment. I mean, you might say he might want to retire, but I just can't see Ant working in my corporate job. Cause I think it'd kill him. I think he's like sitting in a desk making decisions. Man, fuck that. And then once he says that, they're like, "Sir, you can't use 4-letter words here.
That's right.
Go to HR."
That's right. I got your HR right here.
So I watch Ant run his business, which encouraged me in my little side gig to know what it's going to really be like running a business, right? Because that's what the majority is like. It's like you make enough, you cover the bills, you make a little extra money on the side, you do nice things, but most aren't becoming billionaires. And I watched Chip manage, I think now 3 uniquely different careers, right? From engineer to comedian to IT guy to lawyer, right? 4.
I mean, he was funny enough to be a comedian, so we're gonna count that one.
Right. And Todd more recently has inspired me through retirement. So this is what retirement can look like, right? Because he's the first one of us to really officially retire and pursue a life outside retirement. And it's like, okay, so you can do something you really enjoy. You can make a little bit of money out of it. You don't have to be sitting around watching TV all day. So I was like, okay, this is how it could be, and Folston, you at the golf, that's like being your thing, man, but it wasn't always your thing, right? For a long time, it was just you and the Kappas. Everything was Kappa and Newt. But then you got into golf and we all kind of blended into golf as well. And so it's encouraged me to have a hobby, to do something that you enjoy. Now that's probably, I tend to go in and out. I like golf. I don't get a chance to play as much as I like. I like playing the drums. I got those drums in the back. Well, you can't really
I see you, brother. I see you.
But I don't play them enough. I got these little side things, but it's encouraged me to try to always have, even if I don't have one main thing, to have some kind of hobby outside of work and home, to have an outlet, whether reading, whatever it might be. But your golf has kind of taught me that. And we can go on and on. Byron decided to pursue his PhD at the age of 50, and did pretty good for a while, and has excelled in his career as a sales guy, So I think we've sharpened, for me, you guys have been like iron sharpens iron. As I look to do things in my own life, I'll say, yeah, I can do it because I've seen Ant do it, or I saw Chip do it, or I saw Brian, or Carlisle. Carlisle's being a daddy and being a pretty good dad. Like, I don't know if he's a good electrical engineer, but he's a pretty good dad, So I'm like impressed. Okay, I see you, Carlisle. It's about commitment.
Yeah,
he's committed. He's made sacrifices for his son.
Yeah,
and he's doing his thing. So it's like I think the influence is iron sharpening iron. I got examples from every one of you that has helped me be a better man in my day-to-day walk.
Take that. Love that, Kev. I like the shots fired too. So when Carlisle finally gets back to this next year and listens in, I want him to say, man, he had to come to me like that. That's awesome. Chip, how about you, man?
Well, probably, yeah. I think the inspiration is probably the key. It'll probably echo what some of you have already said, but I, definitely, just without even going like super deep, to kind of echo what Kev said. Anytime I think about anything entrepreneur related, the first person I'm thinking of is Ant. Like either, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I got to talk to him some more, or yeah, I just don't think I have the same type of oomph to go out on my own. But it's like but I admire his, fortitude in that area. On another level, like Todd, one of the things that, and I probably just never said it, but like his fitness, like, he's like, every time I'm like, okay, I could do better. Like this dude is in shape. Like we started at the same place. If he can do it, I'm not. So you're my role model there from a fit. Like, okay, and so like you said in the kind of falling off, or just like you guys are always my lodestar.
Mm,
Like I can be better. Like
mm.
I see an example of how I could be better. And I like Kev, for you, I would say, your spiritual discipline, that the kind of the activity and being active with the church, and Sunday school and teaching it, I'd be like, I could be better. My man, that's supposed to be doing, and so it's just like, and like I said, it's just so many different influences that each of you have had and just have, in my life. It's just like, yeah, if I, whenever I'm like, I don't feel like doing it. Like, no, wait, no, that's not who you roll with. You
Mhm.
roll with brothers that are doing it. And so you, like you said, and I think, like Kev said, having the constant communication keeps me,
It's big.
yeah, in that energy, in that flow. And so that, that is uh in terms, yeah, growing as, because we're in contact all the time, you guys are constantly influencing me to be better in your walks of life where you are excelling, or at least, where my perception is that you are excelling. And it is very uplifting. Like, I mean, just from the fact of what we're talking about with this book, like anytime the world is like Black men ain't whatever, I'm like, no, right here. Like, don't tell me Black men ain't boom, because I got it in my inner circle. So
Love it, man. That's dope, man. You guys, man, I hang out with some dope brothers, man. Saying that. I grin like a Cheshire cat most of the time because people don't know that this is what is, this is the cool part of, I think evolution is what comes to mind for me, because because of how we started talking about the book and where we started from, just looking around the cameras here, I know that there's measurable evolution with each of our relationships, right? I think I laugh because, Kev, I always credit you for helping me get ready for life on a single income.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember that conversation, but I sat there with you because I was getting ready to make that move out of New Jersey with that double income. And I said, man, so Kev, bruh, how do I not hate this woman in 90 days when she tells me that I got more to do and it's only one check coming in right now? How do you help me with that? And I know you may not remember all the gems you dropped that day, but you at least unlocked the cheat code for me to be extremely patient, because I knew that as a driver, sometimes I can lose patience behind and it makes it tough. Makes it tough on anybody around me to be, hey man, you seem to be upset. I'm not upset. I'm upset. but having someone who was going through, hey, this is what it feels like. It's going to be a dip. You know, you're going to feel it. So remembering that moment was kind of what came to mind when I started thinking about the questions of impact on me growth, you know, from a growth perspective, because, you know, I know the Brian previous to that conversation probably still wouldn't be married to Ruth or had been shot by now. I would have been shot twice. And maybe not by somebody I know. It may be somebody picking me off just because Ruth knows a lot of people. She's very popular. But but I also think that you know, part of what I was, you know, I agree with everything everybody said around the iron sharpening iron. And I do find myself Chip, you know, saying what would Kev do, or what would Chip do, or what would Ant do? Because situations, it's funny because we have such a rich set of experiences amongst all of us. I can think about who I would think about in moments, right? And sometimes it's funny because it's not always obvious. My buddy Todd and I still maintain probably the longest, would you say the longest video game football rivalry known to man? I mean, it's 30 plus years, 31 years, I think we've been going.
Back to the basement days in 127. Yeah.
And so what you all don't know is that we're probably online, what we say, a couple of times a month. And we only play maybe one game at most, but we're online for like 2 hours because it's a phone call. We basically check in, talk about everything going on. And I think being able to talk about what's going on now and always kind of flash back to the basement of 127W where it started is keeping that connection going for me. I know, Ant, you helped me not take for granted getting together in person. I think, you know, when we moved down here, I told you before, I wasn't super excited about moving to North Carolina. And it wasn't until I realized I was only 50 minutes from your house that it became fun. And I remember the first weekend we moved and we dipped right down and celebrated a birthday with you. And we've been trying to do that every year we could. So making time for each other has been great. And I think the evolution, which is kind of cool, is getting together and doing double dates with the wives. I think that's been really good to see that next phase of how do we just hang out just because it's fun to hang out, you know, seeing our kids grow up and all that. So it's been really, you know, good to see all that come together. And I obviously Chip, my man, I think the basketball experience put the cherry on top of something that I knew we always had in common, but being able to dive into different convos that can go from serious to funny and anywhere in between, and knowing I can do that, even when I have to call you and give you that signal, like, hey, it's going to be a tough day at the house because somebody's anniversary or something happened. I might need you to call me, make sure I don't say something that puts me back in the doghouse, and vice versa, right?
Vice versa. So
Yeah. And
your,
just,
your wisdom has talked me off the ledge many a time.
but that's why I bring that to you all to say that it's the evolution of our time together where I used to think that when we, you know, started hanging out and we started trying to do the investment club, because that was where it started getting a little serious for me. I thought we may get stuck because I do realize, Kev, to your point, forming new relationships that seem like they could be lasting are always interesting. You know, I felt like I was being put on play dates whenever I went out and really say, you need to get to know so-and-so. I'm like, why are you dressing me like this? I'm not trying to meet more friends. Why am I dressed like you? Why are we dressed like you know, what is this? What is this? You know, I'm trying to get kicked out of the club before I even get in it. But I think finally, you know, it dawned on me that part of what makes our bond special is that it has opened me up for friendships outside of this, right? Where so, you know, where I live, I usually find some people that I can hang out with, and I look for, you know, not necessarily the same exact thing we do, but I'm open to meeting people because I realize how many more guys don't have, you know, relationships where they can say, I got my partners to hang out with. You know, they literally are fighting through this life by themselves. And I'm just glad I never had to think about it that way. And so that's what makes this particular project fun to say, well, how do we figure that out? Because, you know, as you heard from Eric's brother, Kev, and your dad, you know, my parents were like, I'm glad you went to Howard to find some guys like the ones you know, because it's not guaranteed. But if you find some folks that you can start growing with and continue to grow with, you know, amazing things can happen, right? And they have. So this has been cool. I was trying to come up with a good Carlisle joke. It may come later on because you know, it tends to just flow at some point. I know what I do love about Carlisle right now is that he presents an urgent and almost fatalistic view of what happens if we don't stick up with each other, like stay with each other. Like when I come to town and we don't catch up or something, I actually feel a little bit bad. I mean, sometimes, because I got stuff to do sometimes, but but I do know that when I make time to even catch up with him for a few minutes, I know how much that means to how he sees all of us. And I think that's something that I don't know if we all get that all the time. The jokes flow, but I think that, you know, he especially right now where he has very limited adult contact, you know, this is his outlet. And so jokes aside, I know it's, you know, nice to know that he has brothers that he knows are doing things that he can talk about, because we've kind of been some places that he's still trying to get to on a few things. But it's great to know that he still sees us as, if we don't make time for each other, what's it all about, right? So he kind of gives us the backbone to a lot of what we do now. So pretty cool, right?
And actually, to kind of segue into your second question, and it's even a little fuzzy now, but so Carlisle, like one of the most memorable experiences that I had was when I was, it was either running for undergrad rep or something in student government.
Mm.
And I was kind of doubting, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I should do this. Da, da, da. And in only the way that Carlisle can, which even to this day is what I appreciate about him. It was with all the New York vigor and venom. It was just like, yo, son. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're greater than this. You know, I mean, he just, you know, was like, nah, I'm not trying to hear any of that. You know what I'm saying? You need to go for that. You know, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, you know, that talk stiffened my myself. You know, I was like, okay. Okay, and then, you know, boom, went on, won UGSA and got into Houston and the whole nine. And so even to this day, when we talk, you know, he's always challenging, you know, like, nah, son, nah, you know, like, boom. So he's my, you know, the keep it real, keep it raw. If I'm, you know, nah, son, boom. So
The nah son, I like that. I like
nah,
that.
nah, son.
This is good, man. So yeah, keeping up with Chip, you know, the memorable moments. Anybody have any memorable moments they want to share today?
I got a few. I'll share one and I'll come back with some other ones. We have time.
Sure.
I got several, man, but one of them is when we went to Todd's house for our get together.
Mm.
And
It's all yours?
yeah, I'm channeling my inner night flight and steal Todd stuff.
Hey.
Night flight. And we were at Todd's house. That was a good time, man. One of the times I enjoy most, it's the picture I see. We're all dressed up and we just look so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In Todd's basement, we take this picture, and to this day, when I see it, because it pops up every now and then on my I get a little stream picture flows. I'm like, man, those are my boys. I mean, we look so fly, like we're all super successful, we're all tight. And then I think about, how do we actually get there? Because it looks like it was all planned, you know, we're all like GQ. And what really happened was we were planning to go out and we got old and tired. We're like, yeah, we're gonna fall asleep. We ain't going nowhere tonight. let's just go down to Todd's basement, play some video games, take a picture.
Oh, that's the best.
You would never know about a picture, but you know, it's just like, okay, it's a memorable moment because it was we were comfortable in our own skin.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not, you know, I feel like I'm the oddball of the group sometimes because of my background and how I kind of think and respond. And you guys, it's one of the few groups I can kind of be myself. And so that's one that just reminds me of, yeah, I could be myself around these fellows. That's what we did. And then another time, and I'll let others go.
Yeah.
Is when you guys came here for the reunion. And you know, y'all know how I am. I'm awkward, you know. Don't quite fit. You know, even you told Caleb, yeah, Caleb, he used to be cool. I don't know what happened. And I was like, yeah, I don't remember y'all ever told me I was cool when I was younger.
you
I was
know,
raising the roof for you, Kev. I was your personal brand manager. He's like, my dad. I said, yeah, man, that dude's cool in the fan. I mean, the bolo was a little much, but after that, he was cool.
So it was, I came here and it was actually, I think it was here, but it was what Aunt did. I think it was here, but I think it was what Aunt did. Aunt got out the plane, picked him up, and I was a little awkward, and he was like, "Man, give me a hug, man, come on," and put me in a nice embrace of fellowship and acceptance, and it just it meant the world to me. And I'm sure Aunt forgot about it, probably never even touched his memory, but it meant a lot to me because it was yet another reminder of acceptance and inclusion into a fraternity that sometimes I wasn't sure I was fully proud of, but it was that was like the cement that put me in. Like, yeah, I can just be who I am. I don't have to be somebody else. I can just be who I am and let it ride, and it's all good. So those are my two that stick. I got those are two.
I mean, it's not necessarily kind of just just to kind of piggyback on Kevin's point. Like, one of the things I love about Howard in the HBC experience is that there is not one way to be Black, right?
Right.
I mean, there isn't one way. I mean, there's all different ways. There's not, and there isn't no, I was just, I was, so excited. That's, just one of my kids didn't get to experience that, but I tried to teach them that, raising them that, you don't have to be, we don't all need hood passes to be Black. I mean, be proud of who you are, where you've been, where you're going. And and I just love the fact that there's just multiple ways to be you, and you don't have to do nothing special to be who you are, man. So I think that's cool.
For sure.
Dig that. I love it, man. Yeah, those are great experiences, man. I don't think I knew about the when we came to see you there. I think what I liked about that trip in particular was I know that was probably the first trip where we didn't let Carlisle not come because he didn't have money. That was the first time we were like, hey man, don't let that be the reason why you back out. Like if we can't handle splitting a couple of dollars between us to make sure you're here and seeing it in action, that was probably, one of the coolest parts is that we thought it important enough for all of us to be together that we didn't let, false barriers keep people from being part of what we were doing. So I remember that trip pretty fondly and getting a run in with Chip. We tried to talk during the run. I think the first half was very talkative. Second half, we just kind of kept it tight. Yeah, okay. That's cool. That's cool. Who's next? Who has some other memorable things to share? I know you said, Todd, you're going to go with your house. You want to add anything to that one, or?
I'll add a little something to that. I mean, obviously that was really special for me for multiple reasons because I got to play host with with my new wife,
Yeah.
and all were there to help me celebrate that. Um, you know, bought the new house, new wife, new life,
Mm-hmm.
and you were part of that. And it was just a really great, like when you all were in the house, man, and we was in the basement, you know, playing poker and taking turns on the playing music on the big screen in the theater room,
Mm-hmm.
and then hot music came on, and it was just ridiculous, man. Just everybody was just hopping around the room, man. It was just that feeling was just wow, man. This is so dope. Um, but then what really sealed the deal, uh, that whole time that y'all was there, it was we got a chance to go back where it all started, at the house, and we took another dope picture in front of the white lady with the stroller who
Yes.
left the baby in the street trying to take our picture.
Times have changed. Times have changed.
saying gentrification, man, is a real thing, man. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, I'd be happy to take your picture. Yeah, yeah, little Johnny, don't worry about him. He's in. He'll be okay. Oh yeah, okay. And then the nice people let us in the house.
Yeah.
That coming. Who saw, like, this two five what 7 of us, seven grown black African American dudes. They don't know us from Adam, and they let us in the house. Now think about that.
Hmm.
Think about that. Like, it had to be something that we were giving off that allowed them to feel comfortable
Mhm.
enough. They must have saw something in us, the genuine, joy of us being in, at our old house, and our old stomping grounds from 20 something years ago at that time. Um, and so they let us in the house, and we were just walking through the house, roaming around, reminiscing, da 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 da. And that was like a full circle moment, for me, and I guess for the rest of you all as well. Um, but yeah, we took that dope picture, a couple of dope pictures right outside the front door, and yeah, that's and that every now and then that comes up on my feed.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh yeah, that's it right there.
I love that. I love that.
Look, it's not necessarily a memorable experience, but building off of Todd's hope, I remember all of y'all, or at least the majority of y'all, talking about some show called Power. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And then like 8 years later, after I watched Power, I still was just kind of like, okay, yeah. But it took me back to, oh yeah, I remember when Todd and everybody, the rest of them, they were talking about this show. It's like, yeah. So it's like every time I watch Power or I think about Power, it always takes me back to how I was looking at y'all like y'all was crazy. Like, what is this show that they are working on? So
I love it. Oh man, that's perfect. Yeah, I'll go back a little bit because one of the memorable experiences is the one that I'm having the hardest time remember every single thing that happened. But it was our trip to Orlando when we hung out in Orlando with the Nesby stuff back in the day. Like there was a lot that happened in that trip that I wish I could pinpoint because my mind is not as sharp as it used to be, but a lot of beginnings I think were there as far as just getting to know each other and starting to become, a group, a brotherhood, right? So I do find myself laughing when I find people who were there when we were there, which is very rare. But when they do, it's kind of funny to see how they remember us, young and rambunctious, full of life and vigor, without the gray hair, right? But but I think knowing that people saw something special then is always fascinating after years of us hanging out. And so that's one that always comes back when we talk about kind of where we started. I do think that as I think about the some more recent times, obviously, it's on the order of I guess starting up, getting together, and when we all got together here in Charlotte, and I think it was almost like it was a relief that we all took time to make time, because I know we got so busy and we all get so busy that it just felt weird to say, can I afford to spend a few days just hanging out? And I think knowing that by doing it tipped at that point, I know for me personally, I hadn't really figured out how to have fun on purpose. It had to just happen to me, kind of like play dates and stuff. But when it was intentional, it became something that I realized, oh, okay, this was something that we started. This is something we should do. But it felt weird, it felt almost guilty to actually have fun for a couple of days and didn't have to think about being dad or husband, all that stuff. So I think, from the beginning in Orlando for me and everybody coming together to even as we start to get together now, I mean, I can't wait to go shoot some stuff with Ant, because I'm more excited now because we can actually get outside and play again. But I think I used to wonder if we'd still have that same feeling of wanting to get together. And so, yeah, those are the memories that let me know that, yeah, this was something that was not destined to happen, but it continues to happen because we want it to, right? Pretty awesome, man. Good, man. Were these questions okay? I want to make sure you guys tapped into some places. I don't think anybody was feeling too much like they needed to redact anything. Counselor, anything we need to
Well,
go back?
okay. So we will have to redact. So get that on the record right now. So Kevin, I don't know if you remember this, but this was a memorable experience that I remember. I remember there were two young ladies. I think they like transferred from somewhere in North Carolina, and we cooked them dinner.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah, man.
27W, and oh, that was cool. And do we have the house? I can't remember. I feel like I don't know if everybody left, but
No, we got there early. I think maybe because of campus policy or something. I'm not sure. We got there early, and we were like, once school begins, we're not gonna have time to be just doing all this stuff. So we met these two girls, and we were like, we'll buy the food if y'all cook it. And they were like, and we were like, let's make a double date of it. And we had that was a nice time, man. I remember that. I remember the faces of those girls even right now, man. I was like, yeah, I remember that, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't use any names, so don't we have to redact this? That's okay. I'm glad. Now, Ed, I will say that my love of road tripping started with you when we just said, man, fuck it, man. It's Friday. Ain't nothing else going on. Let's roll. And with gasoline and no plan, we just show up.
That's the best. That is the best.
Woo!
Dude, we always manage to get in trouble every time. I'm not quite sure.
I'm hoping to go to Hampton one time and see a poster with you on it for throwing paper maliciously at people at parties.
I'm sure. I am sure. I don't know if they had as much fun with that as we did, because we were clearly having the most fun.
and to me, what's even funnier now about that story is like I know some cues from the 90 line at Hampton. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm sure it was one of y'all. Like, I know several people from that night. And I'm like,
I'm absolutely sure it's so.
like
If they were anywhere between numbers 10 and on the like a shorter, it was definitely the little guys.
The little guys.
So it was probably like 36, 37, because there was a bunch of them.
Oh my.
So, but yeah. Oh yeah, he was protecting the womanhood of Hampton. I don't know what exactly he was doing, but it was funny.
It was fun.
And we just that probably made it worse because he was so serious and we so laughed our ass off at him. So I'm sure he was like,
yeah,
"You're not respecting." He's like, "I know." He's like, "Devin, I am a Q. You are going to respect me." It's just like, okay, dude, man, go ahead on.
Love it.
Oh shit.
So Kev,
That's funny.
I had to laugh because Howard plays Notre Dame. I mean, not Notre Dame, but Northwestern for football this fall.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, for Northwestern's homecoming. So
Ooh.
apparently all the Black people are going to be back at Northwestern for that weekend.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
All 6, 7 plus or minus. But what's funny is our road trip out there still makes me laugh because to Ant's point, we should have died 3 times during that trip.
I don't know what we were thinking. It was like an Ant experience. You want to go to Northwestern?
Yeah.
Sure.
And shit going on?
What's his name said, I'll roll with you. I can get you to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay. So we roll up to Northwestern, chasing after these girls. We got fraternities all around us. We're in a form plan. I was like, what? And it's not like I'm a big bulky guy, I was like, but man, we had a good old time.
We did hiding and all kind of stuff. I'm like, hey man, we're going to this party. I didn't know they were all going to be here, but everybody Black goes to the same stuff, so we couldn't act like we were like, who are those 2 guys?
And it's like the football team. I was like, man, what are we doing?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we risked life and limb, but it was fun.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Man, I remember Todd, man, Todd was in our classes, in the mechanical engineering class. So Chip has a humor that Chip will be, he'll tell you, he'll crack jokes, right? Todd had this quiet humor. Like Todd doesn't tell jokes in big, broad audiences or everybody here. He would whisper stuff in your ear and have me cracking up. And I'm like, in class, I remember one time, I don't remember what you said, Todd. I came to class with a hot dog and LKD. And I got there a few minutes later. You said something crazy, man. And it was just hilarious. It kind of whispered in my ear because you sit next to me. It was like our senior year or something like that. And man, I got in trouble with the teacher, the professors, like, you sort of laugh in my class. Todd's over there cracking up. I'm like, this brother did it again, man. Just, Todd has that quiet humor that I used to really appreciate because it was a nice break from all the intensity, school and Nesby and senior project and life. Todd would just, you'd be walking with Todd and y'all be talking about whatever, and he'll just say something that's incredibly funny. And he'll act like it's not, but he's laughing because his arms quietly. I was like, man, that brother is a funny, funny man. But I appreciate it because it broke the intensity in those intense moments in class when we were doing those things in a different way than others might. So it was good stuff, man.
Yeah.
He still does it, by the way.
He does. That's what I'm saying.
Of
like
course.
used to.
Yeah, still at his house, it would be like, yeah, so and so and so and so.
Funny.
Did he just say that?
The funny thing is, some of y'all met my man Rusty.
Yeah.
That he used to be in our fantasy league. He went by VA Bruins because we went to Bethel High School and we were the Bruins, the same school that Allen Iverson went. But anyway, he always tells the story of like, yeah, man, we'd be in gym class or health class or whatever, Ty lean over, say something to me, and I bust out laughing and get in trouble with the team. It's basically the same story.
That's you, man. Still. Like I watch you around the wife, like, okay, Ty gonna make me laugh at something I'm not supposed to be laughing at.
Like, man, Ty used to get me in trouble all the time, man, in class and da 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 da. Like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. That's funny.
This is cool.
Now, one experience, I guess it builds off of Orlando because I guess we met these ladies while we were in Orlando, but the time that we were allowed to go on Spelman's campus at night, I mean, I felt like we were getting away with straight up murder. Like we are on Spelman's campus at night in a dorm. Like
Fort Knox.
I know this ain't supposed to happen. Like
oh, it's awesome.
I don't know how we didn't get arrested.
Like I said, we're still here to think that to be thankful. They, we was it babies and fools? They watch out. Good Lord, watch out for we ain't babies, so.
Like I don't even know what made us think to stay and try to put like.
So you know what it is? It's the Ann Hargrave School of Humility, right? He's like, man, until somebody tells us no, just keep going, keep going, keep going.
I mean, I still think about that to this day. Like I cannot believe that we stayed on that campus at night in a dorm. Like crazy.
I think that was the same mentality when I think this last homecoming, when I was there in full uniform,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the game, and they had everything blocked off on the, trying to get access to the field or whatever. And then, I'm in uniform and I'm like, man, what would Ant do? Yeah, go ahead and walk down here on the sidelines until somebody tells me not to. And I'm standing next to the team, like the sticks. I'm like, oh snap, okay, that's that Ann Hargrave mentality. That I'm gonna have to use this more often. Just keep on walking, keep going until somebody tells you. And nobody ever told me, so I was like, okay, cool,
Ron, you be on the field next, right?
man.
Yes. And Todd just threw a 4 and out.
Should you put me in, coach?
Tell him be out there, he'll be out there coaching the DBs.
Mhm.
You're like, man, you got to drop your hips a little more when he's on the break. Yeah.
Do that back pedal.
That's it. I love it, man. Oh, this is awesome. Well, I know we're right at time, man. I didn't want to keep you guys all night tonight. This is great. I'm going to stop the recording here so that you can speak freely.